Good morning, engineering 2. Woo. Can you guys hear me? I think let's start that way. Can you guys hear me before I continue? Thumbs up, yes, maybe. Yes, there we go. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is share my screen. I want to do, here I have a list of stuff that I actually want to cover. Step number one is actually to understand what are the types of files in terms of AutoCAD. So if you guys go to the engineering computer lab, actually let's start with not there. Let's start with Canvas. If you guys go to your modules, and then you go to the Welcome to Engineering 2, you guys remember that I told you guys that there is a way for you to download software from Autodesk. Let's see, I think I gave you this one. How to download Inventor. Well, if you follow the same procedure, in fact, you should already have you already downloaded Inventor. This is going to walk you through a process where you create an account, and when you create an account, and you prove that you're a student somehow, like an official transcript or some kind of something that tells your name, you're part of the school. They will give you access to many softwares. And again, if you go and you were looking for this type of software, you will pay thousands of dollars for it. But because you're a student, you get it for free. And again, you will have access to more than just the software that I'm showing you right here. We are going to be using Inventor not this week. Maybe we'll most likely start next week. And if you, for whatever reason, you also want to download AutoCAD, again, it's following the same video. You just have to click on a different tab, and it will give you AutoCAD. I would recommend you guys get Inventor 22. I mean, for reals, this one you actually need it. You cannot download any other ones because otherwise they will not be version compatible. You cannot downgrade. You can only upgrade. That means, let's suppose that you go and you download. This is what it means when you can only upgrade. If you go and you go to the internet and you download Inventor 2024 or 2023, and then you come to the engineering lab where the Inventor that we are using right now is 2022, you will not be able to open your files because you cannot downgrade. You cannot downgrade the file that is in 2024 and put it in a 2022 version. You can upgrade. That means that you can do stuff here in the engineering lab and then go home. This is okay, but this one is not okay, right? You cannot work from home and then come here on the lab. So I would suggest when you guys go, and if you guys are trying to do this, I want you guys to download Inventor 22. That means you will go home, you will work on 22, you will come to the lab, you will work in 2022. That's it. That's pretty much what I'm telling you. You can upgrade, but you cannot downgrade. Okay. Now that's if you guys are wanting to start to work from home. I'm going to be here every day of the week, in the morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and also in the morning on Friday. In case you guys want to work here in the lab, it's up to you. And again, I also told you guys that if you needed a laptop, somewhere there. If you need a laptop, please make sure you contact Kelly Arcel. This is her email, and then she will try to get it to you as soon as she can. Right? It's kind of like we're already on the third week of the semester, so I believe I told you guys right at the beginning of the class. But there might be laptops still available. So if not, then just come to lab. Again, the lab is open every day. Okay, so if you get AutoCAD, you will have, after you install it, you will have an icon that looks like this. If you don't get it, it's okay. Just go to the lab and you will see an icon that looks just like this. And again, I would suggest also download 2022. Actually, AutoCAD is one of the few softwares that allows you to upgrade and downgrade. You can do either or. That means you can go in 2022 and you can downgrade to any other versions. Okay, so let's open it. I'm going to go and open this, and we are going to kind of glance through it. And while this one is opening, we can actually talk about what is the reason. AutoCAD is one of the first softwares that was introduced. I think it was introduced back in the 2000s, and it's pretty much what revolutionized the industry. AutoCAD is one of the reasons why we do not draw by hand anymore. Everything used to be done by hand, but we are not doing anything by hand anymore, unless you have to do like a really quick sketch. But in terms of submittals, usually you do not do anything by hand. And again, I will talk about it in the class. What else do I have here? So, okay, as soon as you open the program, you will see a couple of things. First, you will have the Autodesk community forums. What is new? How can I help you? Support. These are pretty much links to the Autodesk websites. They're just links. In here, and we'll notice that you have an open and you have a new. And again, we'll look into this in just a second. In here, you guys will notice that you have a list view, and in here you have an icon view. So that means you click in the other one, it will show icons. And you click in here, it will show a list. And what you will see in the middle is all the files that I have been working on recently, and it will tell you when it was worked on. And again, you can also pin it. If you pin it there, that means it's going to remain in my window. If I keep on adding files that open and work on it, it's not going to go down into the list again because it's time-based. If you have other ones that you start working on, these guys eventually will go to the bottom of the list and eventually will disappear after you got way too many files. If you want to keep it there and always have it available, you can just pin it. If you guys go to the Home tab, let's see if I can go to the Home tab. Does it allow me or no? It seems to me that's not allowed. Okay, you guys will notice that you have a bunch of icons that are grayed out. That means AutoCAD. This is the let's call it a workspace interface. This is what we call it the contextual ribbon, which means it pretty much tells you it's going to allow you to use the command that you can use in this window. For example, once I create a new file, you guys will notice that many of these things are actually going to come up. I'll be able to see them because they're able to work on it. Okay, so let's start by first creating a drawing. So I want to go here to the this sheet of paper. I'm going to click on it. And as soon as I click on it, you guys will see that it will take you to a folder, which is the template folder. And again, it's dependent on your how you install it. It's most likely will have your user. It's going to go through all of this all the way till it gets to your template. You can actually, if you install AutoCAD at home, and you create a file, which is a DWT. And again, you guys will know you can also save it as a DWT. You will be able to open it from here from your template. You just gotta copy it and paste it there, and in this directory, and then you will be able to access it. You guys will notice that if I come over here on the files type to open, you have different types of files. You have a template and you have a DWG file. So let's actually talk about the template and the DWG file. You guys will notice that I have DWT, DWG. So think about the template is like something that you have set up, maybe as a title block, certain attributes that your file contains, and you want to reuse it all the time. So what you do is you create a template. And how do you create a template? You just do save as, and you select DWT, boom, and save it wherever you want. The DWG is your file that you actually make drawings with. Right? And again, we'll use the DWG when you guys submit. I want you guys to submit your DWG. All right, so let's start with a template. And again, I suggest you guys start with a regular AutoCAD template. That will be the blank one. Nothing in it, pretty much, just kind of like blank. Let me see. As soon as you open AutoCAD, there are going to be a couple of things that will not look the same as me. So let me get rid of a couple of things so I can show you how to put it so it looks just like mine. So the first thing that you guys will notice is most likely, and let me put it in that option so you guys see how it will look. Okay, and then we will work on it on fixing it. So let's say once you open it, it might look like this. Most likely when you open it, it will look like this. Okay. Step number one, the first thing that I like to do when I open AutoCAD is to set it up my way so it's nice, ready to work for me. Okay. Also, you guys want to look at the cursor, which is the little cross bar and the little square that you see in the screen. I need to modify so it looks like mine. In reality, you guys most likely don't have the same behavior as mine. So, and I also noticed that the background in here is black, and I would suggest you guys keep it black. And the reason why I want to change it white is because if I continue working in black, it will be hard for you guys to see if you guys want to see the videos. To just go over the videos and maybe follow me so you guys could do your homeworks. So for that reason, I'm going to do a couple of changes. Step number one, I need to go to the options. How do I access the options? The command for that is the command OP. OP. And in fact, we most likely will want to write that command. I think I wrote it somewhere. If not, I'm just going to make a list of commands that I need to use. Let's start from the bottom. OP. Commands. Commands OP, and OP stands for options. Okay. This one will be the one that you will use to make changes to the interface. The first thing that I want to do is I want to change the color, and I want to change again. You will go type OP, enter, and it will open this window. Then you want to go to the display tab. You're going to go to the colors, and you're going to change it to, in my case, I want to change it to white. You guys don't need to change it to white. You can keep it on black. The reason why I change it to white is so you guys can see it when you look at the videos. Step number 2, you guys will notice this crosshair size. You want to increase it all the way to 100%, and you want to have this X-ray display all the way to the left side. And I think that's it. That's all I want for my options. I don't think I need to change anything else. I'm gonna say okay. Well, okay. The next thing that you guys will notice is that I have a bunch of squares, kind of like a grid system, just like your engineering computation paper. I actually don't like to work with grid, so the way I take it off is I come over here to the grid. On the left side, you'll have a grid mode F7. You can type F7 and deactivate it, or you can just click on this button and it will take it off. Okay. What else do I like to do before I actually maybe I can show the grid option here. Let's put I think it's like that. This is grid option. Click to deactivate. Activate. Right. What else do I like to do when I have my AutoCAD before I even start? I like to have my properties because the properties will tell me anything that is in this model. In this once I draw, it will tell me anything about it. So how do I get properties? Take command for properties. R for properties. As soon as I bring it, most likely your properties is going to look something like this. Not really snap to anything. It might have a different size. I don't know. It might appear somewhere like that. So step number 1 is put it on the correct place. So you want to go to this black portion of the properties, right where it says properties. You want to click on it and hold it with your left mouse and drag it and snap it on the right side. I usually like to have it on the right side, and it will snap automatically. What else do I like to have? I think this is a pretty good setup. Oh, there's one more setup that I want to do. My next setup is I want to make sure that you guys are able to see the lines. If I make a line, and again, we'll go over this command, so I just want to make a line. Line. You guys will notice that my line is like super thin, and I want to make sure that you guys could see it through these videos. So the way I change this guy, and by the way, I need also add the properties command. PR for properties. I like to have my line weight display thick so you guys could actually see it. The command for this is line weight. So you just type line weight and eventually we'll come over there. And I usually like to have a display line weight. And I want to say, okay. So, boom, now you guys could really see those lines, right? So, put it here. Line weight, right? So the line, you can really see it. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to go over is I want to go over navigation. How would you move things? Step number 1 is the setup, right? So I could see it nice and everything looks ready for me to start working. So in terms of navigation, let's take a look at the coordinates in the UCS. So if you guys were to look at my cursor, it's moving to the left on the right, and if you guys look on the bottom portion of my screen, I have a coordinate. I got X, I got Y, and I got Z coordinate. If you do not see this, it's most likely you don't have the coordinates active. How do you get it active? You come over here to this customization bar, you click on it, and as you click on it, you will notice here that somewhere in here you have your coordinates. If you don't have it activated, activate it. At this point of time, you guys will see that as I move from the left or to the right, there will be a couple of numbers shown on the bottom ribbon. Tells you your X, your Y, and your Z. So every point in 3D space, in AutoCAD is pretty much a vector. In fact, AutoCAD is a vector-based program. If I were to click on the line that I just made, you guys will notice that it will have a couple of grips, and one of them will be the start of the line, and the other will be the end of the line. And it will have an X, it will have a Y, and it will have a Z, 3 directions. Right now, you guys are seeing a piece of paper, like a sheet. If remember, I told you X, Y, Z, so that means there has to be a portion, an option for me to look into the 3-dimensional space, the Z direction. How do I do it? Well, all I have to do is go to this cube and click on the little home. And as soon as I click on it, you guys will notice that my cube actually changed. Let's make a rectangle so you guys can see a little bit better. There, right? And again, I can type the shift, the middle mouse button. Let me see. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one. The shift and the middle mouse button in your keyboard. So this is your shift. This is your middle mouse button. Boop. Right? Just click on both of them at the same time. Hold the shift, hold the middle mouse button, press them both at the same time, and it will allow you to rotate in 3D space. Okay, don't take them apart. move your mouse around, and it will allow you to look at the 3D space. As you are moving in 3D space, you guys will also notice that your cube is kind of like changing, right? Because it's allowing you to look at the rectangle, different places. You can change this guy to the top view. You can click in there, we'll send you to the left view, continue going up, mess with it, and eventually you want to go back, you can go to this home tab. The view that we were looking at was the top view, which looks like this. I'm looking at the box. It's pretty much what I'm looking at, on top of the box. The UCS. Let me go and find my UCS. So, for example, you guys, I want to assume that you guys could see this little X and Y coordinate system. That little square that you guys see there, that is my 0, 0, 0. In fact, if I make a line and I say that I want to start at 0, 0, 0, you guys will notice that it starts at there. That is where the 0, 0, 0 is. Okay. And if I were to go into this space, or in that house, you guys will notice that there is still there. It's also there. That is the 0, 0, 0. Okay. That is pretty much, again, it's a X, Y, Z coordinate system. You can look at your cube. If you want to zoom in, you grab your middle mouse button, and you scroll it in, and you scroll it out. And it will allow you to zoom in and zoom out. If I want to pan, that means kind of like freeze the screen and move it to the right or move it to the left. You have to grab the middle mouse button and press it and hold it. And then move your mouse to the right, move your mouse to the left. Let's scroll in, let's scroll out, move your mouse to the left, move your mouse to the right. Okay, that is it's called that like navigation. So file types, navigation. One, you have something that is worth keeping. You want to save your work. I think that one of the most important commands is to save. So in my case, I want to save this. I have my properties out. I have my white screen. I have my line weight that is thick, and I want to use it this way. So next time when I see you during the lab, it's ready for me to talk about the rest. How do I save it? Well, I can go and click on this floppy disk, or I could Control S. Type Control and S on your keyboard. Control S on the keyboard. You're going to click on this Control, and you're going to type on S, and you're going to click on them at the same time. Control S, move. As soon as you do that, it will take you to save it. Control S is like a shortcut for saving. In my case, I am going to put all of these. Actually, I'm going to put it to my desktop. I'm going to put it to my desktop. Let me just make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Engineering 2. Engineering 02 working. Right. You guys will make a folder, save it whatever you guys want. That's what I ask you guys to get a flash drive. In my case, I'm going to start this, and I'm going to call it template, and I'm going to continue modifying and working on it and executing things and polishing this template. You guys will notice that when I save it, it's actually giving you the year. You can upgrade it. You see, there's a 2018. I think the 2018 is the elders version. You got 2013, 2010, 2007, 2004, 97. I remember you can send it as a template. You can send it as standards. You can do DWFs. DWFs will be used like for like if you're doing plasma cutting, you can actually do drawings also for plasma to cut things. In my case, I'm just going to leave it as it is. I just want to keep it on 2018. I want to put the template and I want to save it. All right. It's always a good idea to make any change in saving. Easy way to save stuff is Control S. Control S. Control S. Save. Boom, boom. Let me see my battery. Let's make sure that's charged. Plugged in is 91%. Well enough for government purposes. Let's actually learn how to select it. That would be a good idea. So I just saved it. Control S is the important one. Remember, when you save it, we're going to create a file which is going to be DWG. And again, that's the reason why I told you when you do a save as, make sure you do save. You can also do a save as, by the way. Okay. Save as kind of like creates a copy of what you already have. And again, DWG is what you guys want. You guys will notice that it has a little template right there. That is the file that I just saved. And again, it's DWG. This is what you guys are going to submit in your homework. And as well, you're going to submit a file which is called a PDF. PDF. And again, I will show you how to create a PDF, most likely during the lab. Step number one is, I think, before I actually do any commands, you need to understand how to select things. But before you can select anything, you need to have something on the screen so you can select it. So step number one, in one of the most useful commands, is to know how to create a line. How do you create a line? The command to create a line is line. Like literally, you can just type line. Or a shortcut would be L. So for example, here I can go into that line, right? And it will tell you the language, the one that we use there, and will also most likely tell you other commands that could be part of that. In case I can type line, and I can just click anywhere on the screen and click again and click again and click again, and it will create a line. I can also type L, and I can click and click and click and click, and it will create a line. Or I can go to the Home tab, and in there you guys will notice that in the Home tab I have a command which is called line. In fact, it's the first command that is there. So you just click, 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 and click, and it will generate a line. I would suggest you guys. I want to teach you. I want to teach you command base. I mean shortcuts. And you guys, this professor showing me shortcuts. Well, because the release of AutoCAD changes every year. You guys go online. You might be able to find AutoCAD 2024. Why? Because it releases every year. You can also download 2023 and 2022 and 2021 and 2020 and blah, 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 all the way to, I don't know, Autodesk, which one allows you to do. Maybe you have in your company that you start working, it is a different release and you need to be able to use it, but it looks different. That's why I usually don't like to teach you from the ribbon. I like to teach you from the command base. Command base, you guys will notice here, this is what we call the command line. The command line is where you type your commands, and the command will do the stuff for you. This is the drawing area. On the top, you have your ribbon. Within your ribbon, you have palettes, or let's call it panels. Within the panel, you have arrows. And within the arrows, you will have different cooldowns to give you access to more commands. Within each of these, the panels, this user interface on the top is going to have different tabs that you can go through it. The Home tab most likely will have all the most useful commands that you will make so you can make drawings. The Insert tab, anything that you want to bring in. The Annotate, anything that you want to put dimensions, you want to put little hidden lines, little center marks, center line. You can do it through here. You can create different type of views so you can look at the objects different ways. You can also add, there's a little portion where you have your design center and your tool palette, special tools for you can add stuff into the drawing. You can also manage. That means you can create leaves routines. That is like a program. So you can do your drawings like this. You can also export. You can also go there and go use other add-ins, other apps that actually work with AutoCAD and some other stuff. You can collaborate. You can have other tools. It's more like special tools that you can use. And it seems to me that you can also go and buy other stuff, right? Add other stuff for different disciplines, let's call it, right? Different disciplines will have their own commands that you most likely want to use them all the time because it will facilitate you making lines. Instead of making a line, it actually creates an entity. Okay, now that I learned that the command L, which is the command for line, by the way, I should probably put it on here. Hold back. I think I have a list of all this mess. The next one that I'm going for is the command L for line. We need to learn how to select stuff, right? We need to select stuff. So how do we select stuff? I can left click on anything and it will turn with a bunch of grips. I can continue, left click on the next thing, and I will select it, and I continue, and I continue, and I can click on each of the things, and eventually will select each of those elements, okay? You guys will notice that as soon as I click on them, my properties kind of like change, and it's telling you that my X and my Y endpoints of this geometry, which both all of them are three, there are three lines that I selected, they have a certain start and a certain finish, but because they are different, I will tell you that it varies. If I type the escape key on your keyboard, where do I see my escape key on my keyboard? Escape key will be on your keyboard on the left top corner. You just click on it and it will finish your command. So I'm going to escape out of this. I don't want it. Escape, 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 escape. One way to select stuff is you grab your mouse, click on it, left click on it, and it will select. Okay, so number one. You can also make windows to select stuff. If I want to select, for example, these two, let's select everything that is in here, the square and that line. You can do a couple of ways of doing it. You can do left window or right window. You're going to click somewhere here and just click and drag the mouse and then click. So you guys will notice it was a window from the left towards the right. When I make a window that is from the left toward the right, everything that is in that window gets selected. Skip. If I go from the right to the left, everything that is, okay. If I go from the left to the right, everything that is completely inside of the window gets selected. If I go from the right to the left, everything that touches my window what is at the proximity or the perimeter of my window or inside of my window will get selected. Okay, that's the difference. If you press on the screen and hold it, it will allow you to create a crazy shape. In that case, you can do a left window, you have like a lasso, or you can also have a right window select. I think it should allow you to do right and left. Whoop, left and right. I usually don't use those ones. I just click, let my mouse move, and then click again. Right. So let's call it from the left to the right. It's called selection. Selection. There are three ways. One, just left click. Hold on. Left click. Number two, you can do a window from the left to the right is all inside. Get selected. And from the right to the left, everything gets selected. I mean, everything that is inside the perimeter or close to the proximity of my rectangle. The other one, the left to the right, it has to completely live inside of it. Otherwise, I will not select. Okay, selection. Let's continue. All right, so we are going to be honest, I believe we're going to actually go over the absolute and relative coordinates in the classroom. It's a little topic that requires a little bit of in person. I think it's easier for me to explain this in person. There are other commands here that actually will be a good ones to maybe start on them. We'll do absolute and relative coordinates later. Trim. What do I use trim? So trim is another command that is usually really useful. And again, I'm just going to make a window to get rid of all of this. And I'm going to use my line spacebar. You usually want to have your left hand completely on top of your keyboard. And your right hand side, you want to have it in the mouse. So you go typing with one hand. I know it's hard, especially at the beginning, but you type with one hand and you move your mouse with the right hand. So I click on it and then I'm going to make a couple of lines. Spacebar to finish, and then I click on it again. The spacebar. So think about the spacebar like your enter. Okay. So the pinky is going to go towards the escape in case I want to finish a command. And if I want to repeat the same command, I just type spacebar again and it will call out to the previous command that I just choose. In my case, I did the line, so I want to place the spacebar and will create another line. And I just click and click, escape, spacebar, click and click and click and click and click. Okay. Okay. The trim command, which is the one that is next in terms of my list. The trim command, as the name implies, is just to trim. All you have to do is type TR for trim. You just gotta click on what you don't want. I don't want that one. Maybe I don't want that one. You will notice that I will look at the closest fence lines and I will take it away. Click. Maybe I don't want the one in the middle. Click. Maybe I don't want that one. I will click. Maybe I don't want that one. Click. Right. So everything that you don't want, you just click and eventually we'll get rid of it. So trim is for trim command. The zoom. If you click on the zoom, let's escape to it. Let's get out of the command. Zoom is a shortcut is for Z spacebar. You guys will notice that it's a bunch of ways that you can actually come over here. Usually the one that I like to use a lot. And then you can do a zoom. You create a window and it will go and it will zoom to that window, right? If you click the middle mouse button twice, it will zoom out to extend. If you zoom in and click on the middle mouse button twice, it will zoom extend. You can get out. It's too far and you want to extend it so you can fit in your sheet. Double click on the middle mouse button and it will get you there. Again, you can also click on the Z to command, the Z for zoom. Click on whatever you want to see, and it will zoom in. And if you want to go back, double click on the middle mouse button, and it will put you there. You can also, besides doing the C, double click on the middle mouse button, you can also do C spacebar, E spacebar, and it will do the same concept as if you were to double click on the middle mouse button. Okay, circle. Let's start with the circle. How do I make a circle? So the command to make a line was L. The command to make the trimming was TR. The command to make a circle is C. C is for make a circle. How do I make a circle? And then again, I want to delete this, get out of the way. How do I make a circle? Well, you just put C, type C, spacebar, right? And then you just click, and then you just click, spacebar, you click, and then you just click. You guys will notice that when I go and I click and I type C spacebar or I type circle on the spacebar, it will ask you specify the center point of the circle. It's looking for your coordinates of that circle because remember it's X, Y, Z. So in my case, I can go and give it a coordinate. In my case, I will do 0,0. We want it to start at 0,0. You guys will notice that it will go back to my UCS. And at that point in time, it will ask me something else. It will tell me circle, specify the radius of the circle, or click D for diameter. Remember, the circle can be defined with a radius or can be defined a diameter. In my case, I could just keep it like that because the default is radius, and I can just type 1. And when I click on it, I will create a circle which has a radius of 1. And if I click on that circle, you guys will notice that the center in the properties is at 0, 0, 0, and its radius is 1 and its diameter is 2, and even will tell you your circumference. I will tell you the area. Thumbs up. Okay. I believe that this is a good introduction for AutoCAD. The next time that we'll meet, we'll go into something a little more complex, which is absolute relative coordinates. We're going to go over this during the lab, and then we will talk about your homework number 1. There are not too many commands that you guys need to actually be able to submit your first homework. Understand relative coordinates pretty well, and most likely also trim and the circle. Okay, let me stop the recording. You open AutoCAD, this is what you will see. Maybe a little bit slightly different than what might look. You click in here, I will give you a list. You click there, I will give you an icon view, like big squares, which will give you a preview. On the left bottom portion of the screen, you will have like support from Autodesk, a bunch of links to the Autodesk website. In the top, you have the context, I think they call it contextual ribbon. And on the top, you will have your A. You can click on your A and it will take you to the new, to the open. You can also compare your AutoCAD file, convert it to something else. You have create a new folder, new file, open a new file. You can also, seems to me like you can also work on the website. You can log in into your Autodesk account. You guys will notice that mine has my name in there because I log in into Autodesk account. In fact, because I have Autodesk account, I can also save to the cloud. I don't really use this service. Sometimes I have to do about something that's called extract, and it doesn't allow you to extract the changes from computer to computer. That's why I never use it. Okay, so in terms of you, what you want to do is you want to start a drawing. So let's start a drawing by clicking the, looks like a sheet of paper with folder on the top. You can just click in there and then we'll create a drawing. Or you can type Control and N at the same time, and then we'll create a new drawing. Control N. It's always good. It's always a good idea to remember all these shortcuts. Make it faster. Okay, I will take you to this window. And then this window will give you a bunch of templates. In fact, it will take you to the templates folder. And you click on that template folder, you guys will see that there is a big pull down. It's actually a directory that will take you all the way to the templates folder. Once you click on once you get in this folder, then we know that there's a bunch of files that most of them have a name. If I look at the file type, you guys will notice that there is a DWT. DWT stands for a template. The T is for the template. You guys also will notice that it has different names. One is for 3D, one is for architectural, manufacturing, and so forth. There are templates that you create that have certain settings that you can just open up and the settings are ready for you. In my case, we are going to come up with a little template. Well, in my case, my template is I want to reuse it all the time. So it has a certain settings of how I want to set it up so you guys could see from the back. That's a nice setup for you. So let's start with a blank one. So I want to make sure that I have the AutoCAD activated. And I want to click on the open. And I'm just opening a template. You guys probably will notice that my AutoCAD and yours look completely different. Mine is white, it has squares, it has a window over there. Yours most likely doesn't look like that. So I'm going to change it so that looks. I mean, you guys will also change it. In my case, it's not necessary. I want to change it so I can give you the lecture. You guys will see my line. The first thing that you guys will notice is that my screen, my drawing area has a bunch of squares, and I want to remove the squares. If I go back to the bottom ribbon, you guys will notice that there is a display grid mode on. That's 7. You click in there, it will take away those grids. You might have it, you might not have it. But if you don't have it, click on it so you can see the grids. So I want to take it away because I don't want it. The next thing that you guys will notice is that I have a window. This window, and most likely you don't have it. So let me close it so you can see how to bring it up. That window is the properties window. And every time that I work in AutoCAD, I usually like to have my properties window on because the properties window will tell you anything you want to know about any object in AutoCAD. So let's bring it up. The command to bring up that window is the properties command. You literally can type properties, but I have a good shortcut, which is the PR for properties. When you guys use AutoCAD, in fact, all modeling software that you use out there, you want to put your left hand on the keyboard and your right hand on the mouse. Always like this. You need to get yourself used to type with one single hand. Okay? So, with the left hand, you type PR. And then, like PR, it's like PR for properties. And then with the thumb, you're gonna click on the space bar. Think about the space bar as your enter. The little pinky that you guys see here, it should be directly toward the escape button. Let's take a look at the escape button. If you don't know where the escape button at, let me go find a keyboard. Can you see this guy in the corner? That is your escape button. You want the pinky to take care of that one. Space bar, escape button. Make yourself used to typing with one hand. Bueno? Okay. Let's go back over here. Okay, so as soon as you put PR and then do type spacebar, something like this came up. What's like that? Right? Everybody good? Something like this happened? This is the properties window. I usually like to dock it on my right side. How do you dock it? You guys will notice that in this window has a portion that is blank. When you guys left click on it, hold your mouse and then drag and continue dragging until your window disappears. When it disappears, let the left button out, like release it. And that one will snap it in place. Just hold on the black portion, drag it, let it snap, and let it go. Everybody good? Okay. Why do I want these properties here? Because pretty much, and again I will show you how to use it. Because pretty much tell me anything that is in this, whatever is happening to my drawing area and whatever happened to anything that I select, it will tell me know what's going on. The other thing that I like to change before I even start lecturing anything, is you guys will notice that my cursor, let me move it so you can really see it well. Mine goes all the way to the end of the screen. Why do I do that? Is because you guys need to see what I'm doing, right? If I have a little cursor, you will not know where I am. I want to make it big. How do I make it big? A good command is option. So right now, what you guys learn PR, actually, couple. Control N for create the drawing, PR for properties, and the other one is options. OP for options. OP options. Eventually, will come up like this. Start OP spacebar. Bueno? Okay, when you guys look at the options, you guys will notice that it's different tabs. Anything that you get to customize in terms of your drawings, where you will go. File management, here. You want to maybe direct it to somebody place, go there. Including your crosshairs, including your external reference, like all the things that you're thinking in drawing. Then the colors, including a bunch of other stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my background. Actually, I'm not going to change it because it's already white. When you guys click on this color, but to display tab, the color, most likely your color is black. You guys should leave it black. I think you guys can see your screen. The reason why I change it white, so you guys on the back see what I'm doing. Does that make sense? You can keep it black. Don't change it. Let's close this guy. Also, the crosshair, you want to grab the candle. You want to push it all the way to the right hand side. And the express, you want to push it all the way to the left hand side. Are we good? Bueno? Okay. When you are done with that, you're gonna click OK. Okay, so now at this point of time, if you did the crosshairs, your crosshairs should look like mine. Everybody good? Bueno? Okay. There is one more thing that I want to do before I actually start. You know, it's a bunch of setup, but I want to set it up so I don't have to redo it every time. I'm going to make a couple of lines, and don't worry what is the command. We'll go over the command. You guys will notice that if I draw a couple of lines, the lines are super thin. And in fact, if you are from the back, that's why I place that monitor on the back, by the way, to see it better. But it still might be a little bit too deep for you to see, so I need to change the line weight. How do I make my lines pop up so I can really show them to you? You type line weight. Really, just type it, line weight. And in fact, you know or something that you want to do with AutoCAD and you don't know what it is, type it. Most likely it's there. Want to make a line? Type line. Make a circle? Type circle. Want to make a, I don't know, rectangle? Type rectangle. Most likely it's there. So I type line weight, and as soon as I did that, I want to make sure that I display the line weight. So I'm going to click on that button right there, and then I'm going to say OK. As soon as I do that, you guys will notice that my lines became really thick. Now from the back, can you guys see my line? Nice and thick, right? Okay. I want to save my setup because I don't want to do it every time. I want to call it good and good. Otherwise, I will have to do it forever. Every time that I come, I will have to do a setup. So I am going to save this. So the same way that you guys did Control New, I need to Control Save. Control S. Control S. So which are the Control S? Control and S button. You want to click them at the same time. When you click them at the same time, will take you to save the file. And at this point of time, you save it whatever you want. Bueno, put it in your flash drive, put it on the desktop. In my case, I'm going to put it on the desktop, and I'm going to put it in a folder, which I'm going to call Engineering Tool Working, and I'm going to call it Template. You guys will notice that on your file type, now it doesn't have a DWT. It has a DWG. The DWT has the template, it has all the setup. The setup that we use, I want a blank setup. At this point of time, if I have really nice good things about my file, I can make it a template. But I can click in here and look for DWT right there, and then we'll make it a template. But I'm not going to do a template. I'm just going to make a file because this is what you have to do something for your moment. Okay? So only call it DWT. This is for a drawing. Now we'll notice that you have 18, 36, 7, 4, 2000, 98, 97. AutoCAD is one of the few programs that are downgradable. What does downgrade mean? It means that I can go from a later release to an older release, and from an older release to a later release. In fact, I can jump any release I want. Any other the new software, you cannot do that. You can only upgrade. For example, if you guys get to download Inventor, which we're going to be using in a couple of weeks, if you don't know how to download Inventor, Google it. Inventor for students. AutoCAD Inventor for students. If you want to download this, I want you guys to download the 2022 version. Write this down because otherwise you will not be able to work here in the lab. The 2022 version. If you guys download 2024, this is what would happen. You're going to work at home, you're going to do your assignment, you're going to come over here, and you won't be able to open anything because the lab has version 2022. You cannot downgrade. If you go home, you're working here, and you go home and open those files, you can upgrade it. In fact, as soon as you open them, they will change to 2024 version. But then when you come back to work in the lab, you won't be able to open them because they were 2022 version. You can only upgrade, you cannot downgrade. Does that make sense? So the version that you need is 2022, not 2023, no 2020, no 2024, 2022. Thumbs up. In my case, I'm just going to save it. I'm going to keep it on 2018 release. And in my case, I want to replace it because I already did it in the morning. In fact, I believe this is where I stopped in the morning. Well, the other thing that, let me see. I have a list of stuff that I want to talk about. Oh. You will notice that in your AutoCAD, a couple of numbers given back. Those numbers represent a coordinate system. Think about like X, Y, and Z. Your AutoCAD is a vector-based software. What is a vector? Anybody know what's a vector? Yes. Magnitude, direction, and a point of application. So any line that you guys see here, it will have a magnitude, and it will have a direction, and it will have a point of application. When I make this line, I click, and then I click. Okay? Click. So let me click on one of these lines so I can show you what I'm talking about. As soon as I click on it, look at the property. The property will tell you start X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z, delta X, delta Y, delta Z. It will tell you the length, and it will tell you the angle. So it will tell you the magnitude, and it will tell you the direction. It will tell you the start and the end based on your coordinate system. X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? So, if I move my cursor, you guys will notice that those numbers are changing. Can you guys see those numbers in the corner right here? As I move my cursor, the numbers are changing. And the reason why they're changing is because they live in an X, Y, Z plane. Right? What you guys see here is the top of that plane. In fact, you guys can see it because there is a box here, which is telling you that you are on the top of it. If I go and I click on the house, there's a little house. Hover over here, there's a house. You see, click on the house. If I click on the house, it will change my icon. In fact, we'll have different colors. I could also change the way that thing looks by going here to the portion where it says wireframe, and I could change it to maybe shaded. Now you guys could really see it, right? Or I could go over here and change this guy back to the wireframe. I want you to look at your coordinate system now. Now you can see it. The X, the Y, and the Z direction. We were looking at the top. But if you guys go in that cube, You can click on the left side. You can click on the isometric view. You can click on the top view. You can rotate your view. You can go back to home. You can go back to top view. It's a X, Y, Z coordinate system. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's suppose that I want to select something. How do I select it? Left click and I will select it. And continue left clicking and I will select it. Left click and we'll select it. Actually, let's create a line. If you have not created a line, there's a couple of ways of creating lines. You can type the line, like you type line, or you can type L spacebar. L spacebar. And then just click, 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 click anywhere you want. Just click, 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 click. Spacebar. Spacebar to terminate or escape to terminate. Does that make sense? L spacebar. Let's suppose that I want to select. Let's suppose that I want to select these two lines. Right there. There are a couple of ways to select. And I can click on both of them, or I can create a window to select it. If I do a window from the left towards the right, everything that is completely inside the window will get selected, and it has to completely be inside. Because if I don't completely put it inside, I will not select the lines. In my case, I have to go all the way and select it. You see it? Now I select both of those lines because they're completely inside that window. Now, if I go a window from the right to the left, anything that touches the window or it's inside of the window will get selected. In this case, I'm expecting to select this line because it's touched the window, this line because it's completely inside the window, that one is completely inside the window, and that one just got touched the window. So, from the right to the left, everything that it's touching the window or inside the window gets selected. Does that make sense? From left to right, everything that is completely inside. From right to left, everything that is inside or touches the window. Thumbs up. Okay, so now let's work on your activity that requires you guys to understand absolute and relative coordinates. So let me look for it and then we'll do it together. Let me open this too. So you guys go to your package. You guys are gonna see. Let me see. Come on, computer. You guys go to your package. Oops. Let me see if I have a. I think it's this one. No. Let me go look for your package. Package. You have two files in your Dropbox, most likely. You should also have it in hard copy. And those files should look something like this. Let's start with the getting started. Since we know this guy is about 3 pages of instructions. Okay. I'm going to be honest, I usually don't like to follow instructions. I usually don't like to teach you this way because I want to make sure that you guys understand the topic more than just following my step-by-step guidance. Does that make sense? So, in AutoCAD, actually, before I start, let's do a little review of what I did. I just talked about it. We talk about the options. We talk about the grid. We talk about the properties. We talk about the line weight. You guys did a line, right? Just right now. We talk about selection, left click, and right click. Left click to select and also to create windows left to right and right to left. That's pretty much what we did, right? Thumbs up. Okay, so what I want to do is I also want to show you a couple other things. You guys will notice there is a gear on the bottom right corner of Inventor of AutoCAD. Here, that tells you drafting and annotation. Right next to the basics and right next to the 3D model. AutoCAD has different environments. I tell you, it's like a sword or double edge. It can do a lot of things, including create little simple drafting 3D modeling to assemblies, okay, to parametric modeling as well. So, in our case, you guys are learning the ropes. So, I will be doing 3D modeling, and believe me, the transition between going from 2D to 3D is really short. You guys want to learn how to do 3D modeling? Take my 3D modeling class. Woo. Okay. Drafting and annotation. Okay, so you want to keep it there. Drafting and annotation, most likely it's already there. But you notice that there are different environments. I just want you to be aware of it. Let's see. We talk about the coordinates. Circle. Okay, let's talk about the circle. If I made a line and I click line, and the command for line was line. In fact, you can put L spacebar and also do the line. What do you think will be the command for a circle? Circle. C for circle. Yes. So this C for circle. As soon as you click on C spacebar, it will take you to this command base. It's always a good idea to always take your command base. You know what it's telling you to do. Circle specifies the center point. So it's looking for the XY coordinate system. And then you can also do C, you can also give it the C direction. So in my case, I'm just going to click anywhere. You click anywhere. And as soon as you click anywhere on the screen, it will prompt you to something else. It specifies the radius of a circle or the diameter. And if you want to click on the diameter, you just want to grab your mouse and click on the diameter. In my case, I am going to leave it as radius. So it's expecting a radius. You just got to tell it what radius you want to give it. So let's say I want to give a radius of 1, so I just type 1, and I click on it. Spacebar. I want to click on it so I can look at it. Remember, my properties is telling me what's going on with the objects. It's telling me what I do it, what real system. It's telling me where's my radius. Remember, I put the 1 to the radius, and it's telling me that my diameter is finished. Over there? What? Okay. Let's talk about something a little bit more complex. If you guys continue reading on this sheet that I just told you, I came up with an easier way to less instruction, more application. Same concept. Starting annotations. The crosshair is the XY. The mouse has 3 buttons. You gotta talk about those buttons. You look at your mouse. Let me go and look for a mouse. I believe I should have a mouse somewhere there. Mouse. In fact, you guys should have a cheat sheet in Dropbox that it has 3 buttons for the mouse. The left mouse, think about the left mouse is for your selection. Your right mouse button will be for kind of like options. The wheel will be for when you want to pan or when you want to zoom in and zoom out. So if you roll the middle mouse button wheel, it will zoom in and it will zoom out. Zoom in, zoom out. If you click on the middle mouse button and hold it, and then move your mouse to the left and the right, it will pan. We'll move to the left and the right. Again, you just click on the middle mouse button, hold it, move to the left, move to the right. Okay? If I want to zoom extend, I just got to double click on the middle mouse button, and it will zoom extend. Bueno? Okay. Got to start with the circle. We talk about the circle. Now let's talk about the relative and absolute coordinates. Don't fall asleep on me. I know it's hard, but don't fall asleep on me. Okay, so let me get my tablet going so we can discuss it. It's coming. There we go. Okay, so let's discuss absolute and relative coordinates. And again, because you guys are going to make a bunch of lines for your assignment, and you need to understand that, so you can do your assignment. So for that, we need to discuss what is absolute and relative coordinates. So I'm going to try to do my best to explain it. So you guys remember that in AutoCAD, as I move my cursor, it was giving me coordinates, right? Those coordinates are based on absolute 0,0. In fact, I showed to you want to change the cube and then display my UCS. What you guys saw there that look like this. This is what we call the UCS, Universal Coordinate System. Okay, that's what the name of it. You got to look this in the 2D model on the top view. It will look like this. Again, it's the same concept as the UCS. You're looking at the 0,0. Okay, so that guy is the 0,0. Well, if I want to make a line that leaves somewhere here into the space, it will need a beginning and an end. Right? Because remember, it's a vector. In order for me to define a vector, I will need a magnitude, I will need a direction, and I will need a point of application. And again, this is a vector, right? I will need to put the three of them. So as soon as I click on a button, it's automatically telling you where you want to place it. You're telling him directly by clicking on the screen, what is your point of application. When you click somewhere else, you're telling the end of it. Does that make sense? And automatically AutoCAD will say, hey, you know what, there is a delta X, there is a delta Y, and it's also you have your magnitude, and I can also calculate the angle to get the direction. Does that make sense? Well, that's one way, but you actually need to click on a place that is going to make sense, which is going to have a certain unit. So let's call this guy 1. Let's call that this guy 2. And again, I'm just going to make up a couple of things in here. Call different color. This guy is going to have an X1, Y1, and this guy is going to have an X2, Y2. The X1 and the Y1 and the X2 and the Y2 are based on the coordinate system, which is the absolute coordinate system. It refers back to the 0, 0. Does that make sense? Bueno. Now, let's suppose that you guys have a land, and within your land, you have let's call it a property. That is your property. Within your property, you have your house. Within your house, you have a room. Within your room, you have, I don't know, a bed, and furniture, and all that other stuff in there. And you start your project. Your project in here is 0, 0. And you are trying to design your room. Okay, well, you're trying to design your room. So your room, you're trying to lay out where your furniture is going to go. And again, this is just an example that I just made up. You just want to make sure that that room is, I don't know, like a foot from there and a foot from there. You also want to make sure that you let them know the size of the bed, or even for you, right, just to arrange your room. I don't really care where is the 0, 0, because I want to make sure that I understand what is relative to that room, or what is that relative to where I'm moving from. Does that make sense? Not necessarily everything has to go back to 0, 0. There are going to be cases where I want to do a relative move from wherever I am to wherever I want to move on. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's call this guy absolute. And let's come up with relative. So this is what the relative is telling you. You're going to have your X and Y 0, 0 somewhere there. You want to make a line. Let's call this guy 1. Call this guy 2. But in here, I want to make a line that is going to be delta X and delta Y from wherever I am. Does that make sense? Relative to my current position. My current position, let's call that my current position is 2, and I want to make it to 3. Well, so when I do a relative coordinate, I pretty much telling you, you know what, momentarily, my point of origin is going to be the location where I'm starting, and I'm moving to whatever other location I'm telling you, right? Changing X and changing Y. Does that make sense? So relative to the current location. What's up? Okay. So let's do a couple of examples to see if you guys get the hang of it. So let's go to the first example, which is here. So now the first one is telling me, do dynamic input. I gotta talk about dynamic input. Okay, so I can literally tell AutoCAD to actually do this automatically without me telling it go relative to wherever I am. Let's see if I can explain this. I'm just gonna highlight all of these, and I'm gonna click on the delete button. I'm gonna make a line, and I wanna click 0, 0. And again, you guys don't really have to do this. I just want to explain a couple of things. So you guys will notice that I made a line, and that one is at 0, 0. You see it right there. I could. There is 2 ways to let AutoCAD know that you want to do 2 relative moves. One with the add symbol, or one is activating the relative coordinate, the dynamic coordinate icon. How do I access dynamic coordinate? I click on these 3 lines that are on the left side, the right side, bottom corner. Put up this window. If you continue going up, you guys will notice that you should have a dynamic input. If you don't have the dynamic input on, I would suggest click on it. Are we good? Bueno? Dynamic input? Okay. Now I want to activate it so you guys see how it actually operates. If you guys go to the bottom the portion it looks like a glass in a line. And it looks like a thick line. A glass and a thick line. And it says need no. I want you guys to click on it. Make sure that it's activated. And again, it will look like a plus and a big line. So dynamic will look like this. Dynamic mode. Are we good? Okay, I want you guys to have it activated. You haven't activated yet. Okay, I want to activate it. This point of time, I'm telling AutoCAD, you know what? I'm going to use relative coordinate. So from wherever I'm making the move, you're going to move delta x and delta y. So for example, the one that I have here, the one that, not that one, this one. It says create a line that starts at 5,5. So in fact, let's do it together. L spacebar. So L spacebar. Got it? L spacebar. Give it a coordinate. It's asking you where do you want to start this line? 5,5. Start 5,5. Spacebar. You guys will notice that it looks for the 5, 5. The coordinate 5,5. Are we all good here? Everybody? L spacebar 5,5. There. And it's trying to find the next point. In fact, it's asking you. Line, specify the next point. Start? You got with me? Yes? Okay. I want you guys to make sure that you guys don't have activated your ortho on. Ortho is F8. So you type F8, it will make the lines straight. You type F8, it will make the lines not straight. So just make sure you don't have it activated. The next thing, it is, remember, ask me to activate dynamic mode. The dynamic mode is very much a synonym for me to use relative coordinates. From wherever I am, I'm going to move in X, and I'm going to move delta X and delta Y. From wherever I am, where I am, 5,5. That's my current location. Then it says to move to 5,5. Delta X equals to 5, delta Y equals to 5. Does that make sense? This literally becomes my relative point. It's telling me move 5, 5. Relative to my current location, which in this case is 5,5. Does that make sense? Well, whatever I am, I want to activate dynamic mode, which will tell me do relative location, that is delta x and delta y from wherever I am. And I am right here, 5,5. And I want to click 5,5 to let it know that I want delta x at 5, delta y at 5. So again, I'm just going to click 5,5 and type enter. Oops. Line 5,5 and then do 5,5. Why is not letting me? Line 5,5 and 5,5. There we go. Okay. Let's actually escape so we can examine this line. Remember, I told it I want to use dynamic mode, and as soon as I do dynamic mode, it's going to use relative coordinates. If you want to look at the line, you have to notice I started here, so that's my start, and I finish here. If I look at my end, it's telling me that my end is x and y as 10, because I did a relative from the location that I was at. So they go delta x5, delta y5. This is my 0, 0. So when I make the move, I did not do absolute, because I could have done absolute as well, right? I could have done 10, 10. But I did not do 10, 10. I did absolute, I mean relative, which was 5,5. I'll do good here. Are you guys understanding what I'm doing? Let's gonna talk to me. I know Malia understands it. Let's say, yes, okay, what's your name? The one with the water, smart water. Yeah, the one that's looking for. Do you understand it? I just don't want to go ahead and continue to cover other things. You're not going to get it. It's going to get worse. Honestly, you guys understand what I said? No, it's kind of okay. Okay, let me draw it, maybe. I can draw it. Let me actually draw exactly what I just did. I made a line, and I started here at 5,5, right? In fact, I say line, spacebar, 5,5. Yes? And then I make sure that I have my dynamic mode. on, which is equals to relative coordinates. Relative means from wherever I am, that's going to be my base point to do my next move. Okay? Pretty much what it's telling me. And then I made a line, but the only thing that I clicked in there was 5,5. Relative displacement from position that was current. And this was the position that was current. Okay? So I move 5 and 5 because it's relative to whatever I was working on. Does that make sense? Okay. I could have also done the same concept with no dynamic and give the coordinate of 10,10, and it will give me the same line. One is using absolute coordinate, the other one using relative coordinate. Does that make sense now? A little better? A little better? It's okay. Do you guys understood this though? This understood? Well, okay. Yes. No, this one is relative. This is absolute. You have to do the same point, 10,10. I could have done it absolute, right? If I want to do absolute, I need to make sure that I don't have dynamic activated. Does that make sense? All right, so let me do the next line. We took care of the first one. I want to hope that you guys understood what I did. Check. The next one is telling you, take away dynamic mode and use the absolute coordinates to do the same concept. But I want to move 1 inch to the right. Okay? If I want to start at 1 inch to the right, my coordinate is going to be 6,5. 6,5. And that's where they want me to start. Okay. The first thing that I want to do is I want to escape. I want to make sure that I take away my dynamic mode. So how do I take it off? I just got to click on it, deselect it. Bueno, deselect it. And then I'm going to make a line, L spacebar. And then it's going to say, where do you want to start? I told you, I just want to move 1 unit to the right. So 6,5. Yes? 6,5. Spacebar. See, now I started right there. But keep in mind that now I do not have my dynamic mode on. If I don't have my dynamic mode on, it's telling me, hey, you want to use absolute coordinates. You want to have everything based on this 0,0 instead of where your current location is at. Remember, the other one has the dynamic mode and it's telling you relative to whatever. The other one was relative to whatever it was. And remember, the only thing that I put was 5,5. If I want to write 5,5 now, boom, went to the relative position of 5,5 based on this absolute coordinate. Does that make sense? I just jump back here. Everybody here? See what happened? Okay. This guy is absolute. I went here and I took away the dynamic mode. How do I go back? I gotta do U for undo. It's another. It's kind of like Control C to go back. So U for undo. And now instead of doing this absolute, I'm going to do the coordinate because now I have absolute dimensions from wherever I want to move. So I'm going to do 11,10. And then I got to explain you guys what I just did. Okay. The next move that we have, I got this line that was there, and then I created a line that started right here at 6,5. What the 6,5 means, start at 6 in X and 5 in Y, right? And then I say, you know what? I don't have my dynamic mode, which means everything is going to be absolute, right? So it's kind of like looking for the absolute coordinates for your move. Once I press 5,5, remember this guy is 5,5. So when I went and I clicked and I took away the dynamic off, more dynamic, I went here because this is 5,5. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. What about if I want to make a line that is parallel? And it's 5 right here, 5 there. And I'm using absolute coordinates. Well, everything is back to the 0,0. So let's say if everything is back to the 0, 0, and this is where I want to end up. This guy is my end. The coordinate will be how much I'm moving X, and how much I'm moving Y. So I move 6 and 5, it's 11, and in Y is 5 and 5, which is 10. So you guys, I want to hope that you guys see that now I'm doing absolute moves. 5 to 0, 0. I'm giving it a coordinate based on the absolute 0, 0. Does that make sense? Bueno. No? Yes? Stop. Does that make sense? No? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, you know what's happening? You guys need a break. Let's take a break. Bueno, let's take a break. All right, so let's continue. Woo. Are we okay now? Continue your break. 10 minutes to break. That is one way of defining a line. You're using coordinates. You either use your relative coordinates or you use your absolute coordinates. There's also other ways of doing it as well. I'm going to assume that you guys have seen the r theta coordinate somewhere in your classes. You have a radius and you have an angle. You have a line and I have a coordinate system. I can do the same concept using delta x and delta y, and that will give my L, right? AutoCAD will actually be able to find my length and also will be able to find that angle. But you guys notice I click on it and it gave it to me in the properties. Well, you can also do the same concept by giving the length and giving the angle. This is what we call the r theta. You can do it both ways. You can give it by coordinates or you can give it by length and angle. Thumbs up? Okay. Let's take a look at the next example. So the next example is telling you, again, we also did number 2. Without dynamic input, use the alias of dynamic input to actually do the same concept. Okay, so the same way that you guys did dynamic, by the way, I'm not going to use dynamic anymore. I usually don't like to use dynamic. I'm going to have to go back, delete it, deactivate, deactivate. I don't really like to do that. So the shortcut to do the same thing that dynamic is by using its alias. So let me show you how to use the alias. So I want to move 1 unit to the right, line 7,5. So I just move 1 unit to the right. And now keep in mind that my dynamic input is not activated. It's not activated. Okay? The alias is add, just like your email, add.com, at Yahoo, add. This is the add. How do you type the add? You type the shift 2. Shift 2 will get you the add symbol. And then you just gotta tell it how much you move to the X, how much you move to the Y. In my case, I'm gonna move 5 and 5. Boom. So to be honest, I like this one better, so I don't have to go back and forth with this dynamic input. Because every time that I want to do something relative to whatever I am, to the add 5,5, add 10,5. You guys understand what I'm saying? Okay. That is the alias. Let's go to the next one. So check. 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 The next one is telling you use the r theta and include the dynamic input. So it's telling me go to that guy and give it relative to where you are a length and an angle. 7.07 to get the length and angle is 45 degrees. So line 8,5 will move me 1 more unit there, and now it wants me to give a length and an angle. So it wants me to use the dynamic input 7.07, and the angle symbol is a shift. Actually, not shift. The little angle-ish type of deal. Let's see if I have a angle symbol. Do I have a mouse in here? That is your angle symbol. Looks like that. That's your angle symbol. So again, I just put that guy in there, and it's waiting for me. It's telling me what's the angle. 45, right? So it's 45. 45. Boom. Okay, let's talk about angles. Because you might want to make a line that doesn't look like this. Maybe you want a line that has the 45 from horizontal down. How AutoCAD measures the angle? So AutoCAD measures the angles. If I'm right here and I want to make a line, have the length, this direction is positive angle. So I will do 45 degrees. I can do about 60 degrees. I can do 90 degrees. This direction will be positive angle. If I want to go the opposite way, will be negative angles. I'm just gonna put negative in front. So negative 45, negative 30. Got it? Okay. All right. So that one took care of that one. Okay, let's just talk about this because I want you guys to start your homework. I think it's better when I actually can go along you and you guys ask the questions. And I think it's better when you guys struggle. I want to be honest. The best way to learn is to struggle. Every mistake that you make, you will remember forever. You know. You will remember better than if you don't make mistakes. Okay, so let's just talk about it. Since you guys already have the idea of dynamic and absolute. The next one, I move one more unit to the side, 9.5. And then it's telling me, hey, put the dynamic input. That means I'm going to be relative from wherever I am. Okay? And it's telling me to type 5.5. That one, you jump it right here. This is delta x, delta y. Right there. And then I have 3.0. And then relative from wherever I am, I'm going to move 3 units to the right and 1 up and down. Get it right there. Keep in mind that I still have dynamic input. The next one, I'm going to say negative 5, negative 5. Relative from wherever I am, I'll move it negative 5, negative 5. And we'll get it right there. And then finally, I'm going to go back where I started. Relative from wherever I am, I'm moving negative 3.0. Nothing going up. I'm going to the left, negative 3.0. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. The next one. The next one, it also wants me to do dynamic input. But now they want me to do polar coordinates. Again, I'm moving one more unit. I have dynamic input. And now I'm going to have our data. 7.07 and 45 will give me right there. 3.0 will give me right there. 7.7 negative 135 is because remember this is 0. I go 90 degrees and another 45 degrees to there. Does that make sense? So it's negative 135. So that one will make this line right here. And then I just can click and make a line. How do I make a snap? You just click and it will snap. So you can go L and click in there, it will snap. Click in there, it will snap. Click in there. You will see like a red, you just want to snap the things. Okay, the next one. How do I trim? Okay, so the trim is super easy. You just gotta make a line. And something that you don't want, you just type trim, T-R-I-M, or T-R for shortcut. And then just click wherever you don't want, and then we'll trim it. Click and click and click and click and click and click and click. Wherever you want, just click and then we'll trim it. Okay. Your first homework, I believe, is just to make a couple of lines. Actually, take a look at your homework. This is your homework number 4. And I believe I also have a picture of it. Let me see. Homework number 4, graphic full instructions. I'm going to leave this in here so you guys have it. It's the same one as the one you have. Let me tell you what it's trying to tell you. You're going to make a circle. What is the one circle? Single circle. This guy is telling you you're going to start at 1.1. Then you're going to use, seems to me that this is 3.0, which is 3.0. Relative, right? Relative. So I need to make sure I have dynamic input. When I go boom, 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 it's giving you the coordinates. Again, it's going to tell you the coordinates. You get 1, but you go and keep it on the radius. When you make a circle, we'll ask for the center. Keep it on radius, get the 1.5. You can create a command. The command for rectangles is rectangles. And the rectangle just asks you for your width and height. Delta x, delta y. But here, delta x, delta y. So that means 2 to 4. 2 width, 4 height. Triangle, you start by 1, 360, 360, negative 3.0. Done. This is the homework 4. Done there, right? Not too bad. Okay. I could have just told you, you know what, follow my instructions, and you'll figure it out. The problem is that I want you guys to understand what you guys are doing. Otherwise, I give you something else and you will have no idea what you're doing. I think I give you like 2 pages of read and follow. The last thing that you guys need to learn is how to submit my work after you're done with homework number 4. I want you to submit a PDF. How do you create a PDF? Let's suppose that this is my drawing. I'm done. Okay? I'm done with my drawing. I made my rectangle. I made my circle. I made all the shapes that I told you guys to make. And I need to submit this. Well, step number 1, save it, right? You gotta submit the drawing. Step number 2, you gotta print it. The shortcut for printing is Control P. Control P. It will come up with this. You can also go to the top and click on the flutter. There's a flutter on the top. You are going to go and you're going to go to the printer plotter and you're going to go all the way to you see DWG to PDF. I want a PDF so I can mark it. The next thing that you guys want to do is you want to keep it at 8.5 by 11. The next thing that you want to do is you want to click the pull down and go and click on the windows. Click on the windows and then it will ask you select 2 points. The first corner and the second corner. You guys just want to create like a square or what you want to print. So in my case, let's suppose that I want to print this. I just click and then click and it will select a square. The next thing that I want to do is I want to center what I'm going to plot. The next thing that I want to do is I want to take away this fit to paper. I don't want fit to paper, so I want to deselect it. And then I gotta give it a scale. As soon as I do 1:1, you guys will notice that my border became red. That is my drawing that I just drew is too big. I gotta shrink it. Let's do 1:2. Still too big. 1:5. It's too small. Seems to me 1:4 will be the nice one. Yep, so 1:4. Actually, we'll give you a little preview of how it's going to look once it's printed. You want to have a scale right there, and you want to let me know what style you printed. And again, I'll show you how to create text. You come over here, and for now, just go in monochrome. Just click on monochrome for now. Okay? If you don't have this, I would suggest take a picture of this because it's not in your instructions. You guys have another screen over there too as well. You can also take that one. Got it? You guys took a picture? Bueno? Pictures? Everybody got pictures? Okay. It will give you a preview. In fact, you can click on the button and click on the preview button. I will tell you the annotation scale is not equal to the plot scale. Don't worry about it, just click continue. And eventually we'll give you a preview of what you just did. You will notice you have a line. It's 8.5 by 11. Okay. Once you are satisfied with your drawing, click OK. And you say continue, and it's going to tell you you have a PDF, save it somewhere. Okay, this is what you're going to submit. You're going to save it, and you want to submit the PDF, and also the file, which is the DWG, the one that you save. Okay, the last thing that I want to do before I let you guys do your assignment, you got to tell me who did it. Maybe, what's your name? JD, the one with the glasses, I have you before. Dylan. Maybe Dylan did the assignment and his friend in the front, he doesn't want to do it. And he's like, hey man, do you give me the assignment? Well, I need to make sure that you did it. So for that reason, you need to put your name. So how do you put your name? The way you put your name is by typing MT. MT is the command for create a text. You type enter and then just make a box and then put your name. Let's put my name, Professor Escalona, assignment, homework number 4. And if you guys remember, the scale was 1:4. Boom. Okay, bueno. Yes, bueno. Okay. Quick review before I let you guys do. We talked about the setup. I told you guys the options is where you have all the settings. We talked about the grid. I don't usually like to work with the grid. PR is for properties. Line weight is to make line weight, make it visible. L is an important command. You want to keep it there in your resume. You want to also remember the C for circle, because you want to make circles. You want to remember the command for rectangle, rec for rectangle. You also have a rectangle. The rectangle will ask you for delta X, delta Y. You can tell it delta X, delta Y. The circle will ask you for a beginning of your circle and either the radius or the diameter. You gotta read the command line. We also talk about selection. We said that AutoCAD is a vector-based program that requires direction and magnitude. Okay, you give it the coordinates. AutoCAD will determine your magnitude and it will determine your direction based on the XY coordinate system. You can also give it using the R theta, which is this guy, R theta, right? A length and an angle theta, right? We also talk about absolute coordinates and relative coordinates. Absolute means from wherever I am, from wherever I am, from the absolute 0,0, that's what's called absolute, you will make your move, always going back to 0,0. Relative coordinate means from wherever you are currently at, relative to wherever I am, I'm going to make my move. You can do it either doing the dynamic mode or you can do the add alias command before you make your move. That will do the same concept as the dynamic mode. Thumbs up. Okay, so let's, I'm